Welcome to Heroes First Podcast, sponsored by Fund the First, the nation's leading verified crowdfunding platform for first responders, military, and medical professionals. And now, your host, broadcasting from Long Island, New York, Robert Garland.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining this episode of Heroes First Podcast. Each show, you will hear from a new guest that portrays excellence in the first responder, military, or medical professional field. If you're an active or retired member of the service, or even a family member or a friend, then this show is for you. Our podcast is also proud partners with the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network and the Law Enforcement Today Podcast Network. I'd like to present to you our guest for episode 38 of this podcast series, Tara Cornett. Tara, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Robert?
Doing great. Hey, let me start off really quick. You're a veteran. Thank you for your service and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's an important day. I think sometimes it gets overlooked, especially in the political spectrum that's going on today. And I don't like to talk about politics, and I just said that. But, you know, we want to make sure that we don't forget our veterans that served. You know, very, very important. And thank you again to all those that have served across our great country. So Tara, have you on the show, Flame Decon. But before we get into that, let's talk about your background. And being that you're a veteran, and what better to be than Veterans Day, let's hear about that. I saw some of your background. You were in the Navy.
I was active duty Navy for one enlistment, and then I also worked for the Army and the Marine Corps. And I really joined after the first deployments were coming back from the Middle East after 9/11. I actually saw a female sailor be interviewed as she was coming off of her ship from that deployment, and it just was one of those things that felt like a calling for me to go serve and be part of that effort. So I did. I went and joined and did an enlistment in the Navy, and it was amazing. I'm glad I did it. I got to serve beside some incredible people who are now lifelong friends. So
that's great. So you're in the Navy. Were you overseas at all?
So I did. I got really lucky. I did some exercises in Thailand in 2006, and that's the extent of my overseas time.
Thailand's got to be interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was really cool. Got to really get into kind of the back countries and just kind of experience the people and go onto all kinds of different Thai military bases and see the way that they do things. But then also it was a multi-nation exercise. So got to work with all kinds of different people from around the world. It was a really neat experience.
That's great. So now, After the Navy, what'd you do from there?
So after the Navy, I went to work for Navy Region Southwest and did casualty cases. So did notification of families, and we would have a death or serious injury in the military. And then would, if it was a death, would do their funeral and personal effects and life insurance and all of that stuff. After that, I worked for the VA for a while doing compensation disability claims. After that, I worked for the Marine Corps as a family readiness officer, and then worked for the Army doing public relations before I launched into a couple of fire family businesses.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's pretty incredible that you were almost in every branch of the military.
Yeah. Well, you worked with almost all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. I want to backtrack for a second. Something you just brought up, death notifications. It really takes a special person to be able to talk about those things and be able to call those families and interact with them. I mean, as a detective myself, I've done it, working, and I've done it with my platform at fundthefirst.com, speaking to families that have lost loved ones. But I don't think people realize what really goes into that when you're speaking to somebody. Maybe if you want to take a few minutes to explain that, because it's tough. People think that we're just going to be on a phone call and we're saying, unfortunately, so-and-so passed away, but we feel that too. It's really hard.
Absolutely. So My job really was to coordinate all of the CAECO officers who would go out and do the notifications. So I would train the CAECO officers, they would go out and do that. And then I would always, or often anyway, work with families over the phone after that initial notification. But all the time, I would prep them and let them know you don't know how families are going to react. You could get zero reaction at all. You could be punched in the face. They could be happy. They may say that guy was a jerk face and great, he's gone. Like, you don't know. You have to be prepared for anything with that. But you're also, I actually found it a very rewarding job because you're truly just helping people, most people anyway, through the worst times of their life. No,
yeah, they need that support system. And when they hear somebody behind the line sometimes, or even when you visit in person and you explain what went on, that support is what they need in that moment. And especially if you care. I mean, I've been on, and I'm sure you've been there before, someone getting killed in a car accident, and the doctor just picks up the phone because the phone number was in the victim's pocket, and just says, "Hey, your son just passed away." And it's like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No.
And that's tough. And especially, everyday person is one thing, but when you're in the armed forces, or, you're law enforcement or firefighter, and you get a phone call like that, that's gut wrenching.
So I think what really prepared me for that was that's how I found out my dad died. I was active duty overseas in Thailand. It was 2 days before we came home, and got a Red Cross message where a 2-star general told me over the phone that my dad had just died after he got done reprimanding me that I didn't have another soldier there with me for the buddy system.
Are you serious?
It was real cute. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. It hits you the right way, and you want to help other people through that,
No, yeah. And I'm sure you still do it to this day. Even though you're not involved, I'm sure you really, it takes a special type of person, like I said, and I'm sure you're definitely still involved in some type of way to make sure that people have a common understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, thank you for your service, everything you did. But then you went into the entrepreneur space, right? Now, do you have a firefighter background, or is that just family?
I don't. So my brother's a firefighter. So actually, our dad, when he died at work of a massive heart attack. And that really just, my brother was 21, I was 25 at the time. And it changed our lives. And my brother from that decided that he wanted to go on and help people. He wanted to change his career. So he became a firefighter. So my brother's a firefighter in San Diego. And ultimately that's what got me into this space. So really our dad's death has led us both to where we are in this space.
So his name will live on forever, know? And I've said this before, you die twice, right? You die the first time with your actual death, and then you die a second time when people don't mention your name anymore.
Absolutely.
But now with what you're doing, his name lives on forever, which is great. That's incredible. Let's talk about it. What was your first, before we get into Flame Decon, you said that you had some business ventures that you did, and I love hearing about business. That's what I'm all about. What did you go into first?
Well, so also, I've always been very entrepreneurial minded. So my very first business was when I was 19. I actually opened a day spa when I was 19.
Really?
So I had that for a year and a half, 2 years, shut it down when I was 21 and decided I wanted to kind of be a kid. I wanted to be 21 for a bit. So ended up joining the military. After the military, we kind of gone through that. And then my background's in public relations, really going through my military experience. That's where my experience lied, in the military. So after I was family readiness officer for the Marine Corps, I worked for a huge PR firm, and coming out of that, I thought I wanted to open my own PR firm. So I started on that, and just decided that it really wasn't for me. All these years I thought I wanted to do that, and that's not what I wanted to do. So my mom and I actually ended up launching firemom.com, which is it started as a gear and gifts company for firefighters and their families. And about 6 months into that, I felt like I just wasn't making as much of a difference as I wanted to in people's lives with that. I think gear and gifts are great. They can be a great morale boost, which people need. But I just wanted to make more of an impact, and I didn't feel like I was doing that. And one of my best friends at the time recommended that I change our mission to firefighter wellness. Okay. So I took a few days to think about that and went back to him and said, yeah, I think you're right. So I changed our mission in that. And as I was looking at the products that we needed for that mission, I realized that something was missing. I realized that firefighters didn't have any personal care products, shampoo, body wash, soap, those kind of things to decontaminate themselves after a fire. Nothing that was truly developed for them. So realizing that was missing, like, again, that was just kind of this calling in my life. Like, this has to be a thing. I mean, firefighters come out of a structure fire and they're decontaminating their gear, they're decontaminating the apparatus, they're doing all this decontamination, and then they're going in the shower and using whatever they picked up from the grocery store. Like, this is not satisfactory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in realizing that, I knew that, like, that if I could figure that out, it was bigger than just our mission change. So I knew it had to be its own company. Mm-hmm. So I really dug into the research there, found out that activated charcoal is the best thing to use, but found out exactly how activated charcoal works. And you need different types of activated charcoal to remove different sizes of toxins. So came up with our proprietary blend of activated charcoal, and then worked with scientists at a lab to develop the formulations, and took like a whole year to do that. To make
sure you actually worked with scientists hand in hand?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I just made sure that it was legit, for lack of a better term, to make sure it would work for firefighters to remove these toxins and remove the bad odors and send them home clean to their families, you know? Mm-hmm. Like I said, my brother and I lost our dad early. I don't want that to happen to him. Right. So now that he's a dad, like, it's even more important.
No, this is great. So I'm going to show the website, but before I do, I love hearing when someone starts a business, you know, everyone takes a different route. You know, did you form an LLC? Did you form a C Corp, an S Corp? Did you get investors involved? How did you get started? You know, if you're open to talking about that, because we do have, with people that listen to the show, we do have a lot of entrepreneurs that are always interested in startups and wondering how, you know, funding works, you know, whether capital raises, if you're doing a Series A, Series B, seed rounds, if you're doing Reg CFs, whatever it may be, how you got started. So if you're open to it, you know, I'd love to hear.
Totally. Yeah. So I started an LLC knowing that was the best thing to protect myself personally at this level of business anyway. I'm sure that I can, you know, even myself, go get some legal advice on changing that now that I'm growing a bit more, but that's coming. As far as funding goes, the entire company is self-funded. I have not taken any loans. I have not done any raising of money, anything like that. It's been my own personal savings. I was very fortunate last year to be called up and asked to do some crisis public relations for some major corporations when COVID first hit. And thankfully those kind of contracts are pretty big money. So I mean, just to be really honest with you, that's where I got more startup money for this. And I was able to just make it go further. You know, all the initial money I spent for the formulation and working with the scientists and the initial runs and all of that stuff was from my life savings, really. But then these contracts happened and I was like, okay, let's put even more money into it, more money into marketing. Let's make sure that we can get to the big shows. And so that's what I did. Like, this is it. It's important to me and it's bigger than me. It's just something that I need to make happen, and maybe one day I'll make money from it, you know?
You will. Listen,
Yeah.
with the passion that I hear behind it, you 100% is going to be successful. And when I spoke to you months ago, I've been meaning to buy one of these because I always get my hands dirty. And I just, you know what, I'm not a firefighter, but why not?
No, absolutely. Well,
I
and
want
that's the thing, like, because this was developed for firefighters, anybody who works with toxins at work or in a hobby or something like that, most toxins it's going to be really good for to get rid of. And, or if you go home smelly, it's going to get you unsmelly, for lack of a better term.
you hear so many people, especially from the military, that bootstrap, that fund their own companies. And it's great that you're able to do that. I mean, by all means, it's great. If you're able to do it, go right ahead. But sometimes people don't realize venture capitalists and private equity actually started for the military. I'm not sure if you even know that. So it was I believe it was after World War, might have been II. It's either one or two, whichever World War it was, but hopefully not III yet, but World War, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. World War I or II, guys in the military and women in the military, they were coming back and they had all these ideas and they had businesses they wanted to start. And, everyone was now out of money because they were back from in the military, so serving overseas. Their family didn't have any money because they had to leave their jobs, professional baseball players, whatever it was. And they came back, and venture capital firms were actually started for people in the military. It's a pretty cool thing to research. Yeah, definitely research it. So, but that's a whole other topic. And if you ever want to discuss that, I'm more than happy to help you on those types of things. But I'm going to share my screen now and show your website because I think your product is awesome. And let's show it. So here we go. flamedecon.com, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about your website.
Gosh, I don't know what to tell you about it. So I've got all our main products on there right now. We've got our holiday soaps going on. So usually I do a soap of the month where I do one scent every month. But for Christmas, I love Christmas and I couldn't pick. So I did 6.
This is cool. I'm going to click on this. This looks cool.
Yeah. So we've got different scents for the holidays, but all of them are with our proprietary blend of activated charcoal to remove those toxins. But they all have different scents to them and are fun Christmas holiday scents.
I like this. The Santa with the
yeah.
These are some cool. Who made your graphics? Who does these? Do you do them?
I do them.
Oh, you do? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do most of them. I work with my buddy Brendan from Black Smoke Sticker Co. does some graphics for me, but I do a lot of them as well.
That's awesome. I love these graphics. We're going to have to chat. So with the holiday season, I mean, like I said, hopefully broadcasting this podcast out, people will see this, and this is a great stocking stuffer. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's for sure. But and it's, I mean, I'm gonna have to buy some. You got shampoo and body wash too. Okay.
Yeah, the shampoo and body wash, and then the bars of soap are really and I made the shampoo and body wash, so it's a 2-in-1. I've got it in half-ounce packs for guys who just want to throw it in a pack and go.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Everything was really designed with the kind of on-the-go lifestyle in mind, because that's how firefighters' lifestyles are. Each bar of soap comes in its own little travel case, so it can go back and forth. The shampoo and body wash only comes in an 8-ounce, but it's super concentrated. Water is like our 5th or 6th ingredient, which with most products you're going to find it is number 1. It's concentrated, so you don't need much of it for it to work, but you're not having to haul back and forth this huge bottle of stuff. I just try to be very, conscious of the lifestyle and make it work.
Tell me about this body scrubber.
So I'm sure you've heard of toiletries before. They make really great toiletry products, bathroom products. That is their body scrubber. I'm a distributor for toiletries. So the body scrubber, shower hook, soap holder, all of that stuff I'm a retailer for them. And people love that body scrubber. I mean, it works great with the soap. It works great with the shampoo and body wash. People are telling me all the time, well, like, I thought I'd like it, but not that much.
So does this work well with the beard? I know you got these skull beards all over the place.
Oh yeah, totally.
It looks like me right here.
Kind of does, right? It totally does. That's so funny.
Yeah, it does.
Get your sunglasses on, you'll be set.
I don't know. Can you see my mustache?
Totally.
So earlier today with my oldest guy, I put gel in my mustache and I was able to curl it up.
Yes.
It was nice. It was cool, but it's not, I got to get it longer and tame it a little bit better so it stays. So now, are these all the products that we just saw, or are there more products?
Yeah, the product line is super simple and basic.
Okay.
It's there and meant to get you and keep you clean, and that's what it is. I don't overcomplicate anything.
No, this is great. So for everyone listening and watching, flamedecon.com. Definitely first responder, military, medical provider, whatever you are. If you're not, get one of these for your stocking stuffer. This is a fantastic product and backed by a fantastic person. Tara, this is great initiative. I love it. Love it. So what's next? What comes next from Flame Decon? Is there anything else that you're aspiring to do?
Just growth. I've got steady growth going on, and I want to just keep growing. The very first big show we did last year was FDIC International. So we'll be back there this year. I want to do some other fire conferences this year. Just get out and meet people and be there. One of the things that I am struggling with right now, that getting through growth wise, is really this whole supply chain, the cost of raw goods thing. Like, it's truly impacting small businesses. It's impacting my small business. And I'm really trying to navigate that and find ways that I can find products that at a lesser cost that are the same quality, so that I don't have to pass those costs along if I don't want. My audience is firefighters. I'm not into, price gouging my customers.
Yes.
Like, it seems like the back end of where we're buying things from which is really a shame. So that's my big struggle right now. And kind of what's next is just making sure that this is going to stay growing as it is, and in a positive way for my customers.
Now, have you tried to maybe connect directly with departments and see if they're willing to buy your products to have it in the shower rooms and the locker rooms and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge thing that's coming too. I'm working with a couple of distributors now. I'd like to be working with more. I'm working with a couple of departments more. I definitely like to be working with more. That's definitely huge growth opportunities.
Well, I'm going to be honest. NYPD, and I'm sure FDNY has the same exact thing. We get these tubs of disgusting goop that just comes in, and they're basically throw it in there, and you just fill up old soap bottles, and that's what we use when we listen. I mean, I've had my hands in some places you don't even want to know,
I'll bet.
I'm sure that your soap works perfectly fine for that, So, but especially with FD, I think it'll be great. I have some connections. I'll try and reach out to them for you and then see what happens. Because especially fire departments, if you're able to get one of these bars of soap in every firehouse, maybe it's just like a marketing play, you give them out and then they see it. They're like, oh, what is this? Then all of a sudden they visit your website and they're buying it. It's a great idea. So,
and those single-use packs are so great for that too, because I find that fire departments, like, they want to be able to control the distribution of this. They don't want, just guys dumping out gallons of it, if you will. Yeah. So, you come back from a fire, you use one, or you get one per shift, because we all know that there's carcinogens around the station. And single-use pack has half an ounce in it, and it's plenty to wash your hair, your entire body. So yeah, it's great for that too.
No,
yeah.
This is awesome. I'll definitely do my best, but hopefully this podcast helps you out a little bit.
Thank you.
Getting you some more exposure, especially across the country, because I'm on the East Coast. So, but
Yeah.
even though our network is across the country anyway, but we have a large following, but you got to do some back to blue stuff. Maybe a special month, law enforcement appreciation, and do
I'm
some blue
so
bags.
into it. I'm all about it.
I think that would be cool. That'd definitely be cool. So let me ask you something. And I love asking this question because everyone always has a different answer. If you were to do it all over again, between starting a business at 19, going into the military, doing everything you did, and now where you are today, would you do it all again, or would you take a different route?
I think I'd do it all again. Yeah. I mean, your life builds you, right? Your life makes you who you are. I mean, I think I'd do it all again. A couple weeks ago, with everything going on in the world right now, my mom and I were driving around, hanging out with my mom for the day. And I just thanked her for giving me a strong moral compass. It's something that I'm proud of, and she definitely gave that to me. And I think that you get things like that from your upbringing and your parents, but then there's your world and your life shapes you. The things that you go through, the things that you do, all the decisions that you make really shape you as a person. And I like me. Yeah, I mean, who knows who I would be if
No, everything that's happened in your life shaped you a certain way. And you're right.
Right.
You're definitely right. No, that's great. So another question I like to ask, and because this is the Heroes First podcast, and with everything you've done in your life, I think you'll have a great answer for it too. What does a hero mean to you?
Gosh, I think a hero to me is somebody who it's somebody who's willing to do what's necessary to do what's right. Like, take for example, and not to get too political here, but we have a lot of first responders who are at risk of losing their jobs right now, or have lost their jobs. But they're holding the line. They're standing up for medical autonomy and our freedoms as Americans. They're doing what's necessary to do what's right. Take last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, Cory Britt out of Oklahoma City. He was a firefighter who he got a call, and it was a burned child, and this child needed medical attention, needed to get to the hospital, and ambulance couldn't get there in time. It was taking way too long for the ambulance to get there. So Cory took this child in a fire apparatus to the hospital, and that's completely out of protocol. He put his entire career on the line to save this child, to make sure this child got the medical care that he needed, or that she needed. I'm sorry, I can't remember if it was boy or girl, but the medical care that this child needed, and put his entire career on the line to do that. We have military members deploying and losing their lives and doing what's necessary to do what's right.
That's a perfect definition for what a hero is.
Yeah, to me, that's a hero. It's a true hero.
No, thank you. I love that answer. Great answer. So I'm going to ask one more question before we end our show, but I want you to just have the opportunity to just tell everybody how to contact you, websites, Instagram. I know you have a great large Instagram following. Let's hear it all.
Yeah, so I'd love to connect. I spend a lot of time on our Instagram. Our Instagram and our Facebook are at FlameDecon. And then you should our website, flamedecon.com. Great.
Any email addresses you want to share?
I'm sure. Support at FlameDecon. You can always reach out there. Yeah.
Excellent. So last question I'm going to ask, and I want it to be the first thing that pops into your head. And when really quick, before I say that, I have this guy, Ken Bader. Ken is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. And he was on the show one day, and I go, Ken, the first thing that pops into your head, and he spits out an answer, just whatever he was thinking. He said like ice cream or something. I'm like, Ken, I didn't even ask a question yet. So,
That's awesome.
It's so funny. But so when I ask the question, the first thing that pops into your mind, spit it out. And I know you won't. You got to think about it, but just
Totally.
so here we go. If you were to have one superpower, what would it be?
I'd get rid of cancer altogether. Like cancer for dogs and humans, I'd get rid of it altogether. It's so awful. It rips so many people out of our lives and so many animals. Like I've lost family members. I've lost dogs. Like I lost a dog to cancer a couple of years ago on the anniversary. I still cry. Like I'd get rid of cancer.
That was such a fast answer and I loved it. Wow. Wow. So Tara, thank you so much for joining the show, and for everyone listening, thank you again for joining, and we'll see you all next time. Tara, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to the Heroes First podcast with Robert Garland. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. Make sure to like, rate, share, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to visit fundthefirst.com and follow us on social media at fundthefirst. See you next time.